Do you dream of having your own special outdoor space? A small garden that you can admire, enjoy, and call your own. And then you stop and think, I have no idea how to make it. Well, you're not alone.
Monty Don has travelled up and down the country visiting amateur gardeners with bold ambitions. He's scrutinised their plans and pushed them out of their comfort zones.
Going out into deeper, darkest, unknown territory, isn't it?
It's not been easy.
I hate it.
But everyone's worked incredibly hard.
Both of us want to sleep for a week, pretty much.
You've had your tea break, come on.
And the transformations have been extraordinary.
It's just incredible, it really is.
I declare this garden open! I do believe that everybody, however small their garden, can cultivate a big dream.
This time, Monty meets two sets of new homeowners with different approaches to their garden dreams. From can't garden...
You could kill a plastic plant, I think I used to say.
Yeah, I probably would, actually.
...to won't garden.
Do you want to give us a little hand?
We were doing all right, I think we were doing all right.
They're going to need some expert guidance.
If in a week's time we get a phone call saying it's dropped half an inch,
then we have a problem.
To have Monty Don help us with a garden is a real privilege.
I'm shoveling composted horse manure. Smells pretty bad.
What have we got ourselves into?
Our first garden is in Leyton, East London. Bankers Tariq and Syra would like a cottage-style garden in which they can entertain guests. They're also taking on the challenging task of remodelling their Victorian terrace at the same time.
This is our first house that we've actually bought together, and we wanted to buy a property we could put our own stamp on. We've been project managing it ourselves, which has been difficult.
A bit stressful.
Yeah.
Fortunately for Syra, the couple have clearly defined roles when it comes to their 50-metre square backyard.
95% of the graft will come from me and 1% from Syra and probably another 4% from tradesmen.
I want to sit back, relax and enjoy the fruits of his labour.
But he's not just the workhorse. Tariq has a perfectionist streak too.
I do a lot of research, a lot of
research.
I'm an analyst by trade, so I put together like a list and tick it all off, a spreadsheet, make sure that everything's done to...
Meticulous.
Yeah.
And he's also hoping to impress his horticultural hero.
To have Monty Don help us with a garden is a real privilege. I mean, he is Britain's favourite gardener, and to have him come to our house and help us, we're so, so lucky to have him. And we're going to take absolutely everything that he says on board and try our absolute best for him, but also for us as well.
Our next set of first-time gardeners live in Bath.
Yeah.
Ant is a creative professional, and Jake is the owner of a marketing business. With demanding jobs, the pair are looking for a little bit of tranquility in their lives.
We both have a really busy lifestyle, so coming home to a really nice, calm, peaceful garden is very important to us.
They have a very specific style in mind for their 100-square-metre plot.
We have been to the Japanese gardens in Monte Carlo, in San Francisco, where else?
Brooklyn, that was the last one.
In Brooklyn, yeah, the last one was the Brooklyn Botanical Garden. So we always visit different type of Japanese gardens just to get inspiration. We just thought, that's it, we're going to do a Japanese garden and bring a bit of a memory of our travel to our backyard.
The couple live next door to Jake's identical twin brother Shane and his husband Peter. And what's more, they also have an identical garden that they too are renovating.
There's a lot of sibling rivalry. No doubt there'll be lots of looking over the fence to see what our house is like and what their garden's going to be like.
Yeah, that's definitely unavoidable.
The difference is that Ant and Jake have decided to do the work themselves, with some special help.
Personally, I'm not a huge gardener myself.
So we have ideas of what we want to do, but actually implementing it.
But we desperately need the help from Monty.
Desperate is a strong word.
Desperate.
Actually, we are desperate, yes.
It's May in Leyton, And Tariq is unashamedly ambitious about his dream project.
I want a garden that could be award-winning. A beautiful garden, I really want. That's what I really want. And I'm willing to put in all the graft and hard work in order to get to that stage.
But the novices don't know where to start and are eager to get some advice.
I think it can be overwhelming, so I think that having somebody kind of guide you through the process and maybe support you through the process would be great, I think.
I'm Monty, nice to meet you. Come in.
So, here we are. This is the garden.
Yep, this is the garden.
All right. Tell me what your plans are for this garden.
We quite like entertaining, having friends around, so it'd be great to have a space to allow us to do that.
I wanted a cottage kind of feel of a garden rather than a formal or a contemporary thing. Because it's quite a narrow garden. I wanted a deep border to create a bit more impact and big, beautiful flowering plants.
So we've got a border with lots of colour, lots of impact, a lawn.
Yep.
And why do you want a lawn?
I think a garden without a lawn doesn't quite look right to me, but also when we've got people around, you can spread out onto the lawn, sit on the lawn, eat on the lawn.
What's your budget?
7,000, I think is what we agreed.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, 7,000 is a perfectly doable budget. It's not as extravagant as you might think.
Yeah.
You will spend that, but on the other hand, you should have something very nice at the end of it. And so that's worth it. How much of this can you do yourselves?
I'm a
grafter, so I think we're going to do 95% of it myself.
And I'm going to do the project management. So.
What I'd love to do at this stage is see anything you've got on paper.
Okay.
Tariq and Syra would like an elegant garden in which they can entertain friends and family. It will feature a patio area with built-in seating, barbecue and herb garden. Beyond this, a curved lawn will lead to the back of the garden, with a border filled with country-style planting on one side. Syra would like a rose arch and a bench. And Tariq has his heart set on a topiary chicken.
A topiary chicken, perfect. Everybody's got to have a topiary chicken. And you said you're going to have a big border, but it's a small border and a big lawn. What we have is a very conventional idea of just almost full of grass with a little ribbon border around the outside.
Oh, no.
And I don't think that's what you want.
I would like a big impact, deep border.
To get the impact you want, you need volume of plants. Now, if you want big flowers, big plants, you will not fit them in there.
Right.
Okay?
Monty also has a suggestion for making the most of their small space.
One of the things that makes a garden look bigger is subdividing it.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, if you've got a long, thin garden, it always pays to break it up.
And Tariq is quick to take his lead.
Maybe just have another border coming out, well, bring this a lot deeper, having another border come out like that and having a small path leading from this garden to that garden. And ideally I wanted to have a rose arch, so would it be ideal to have a
There
rose
you
arch
are, you see you're getting there. You could have a rose arch here dividing the two.
That would look
Wow. Okay,
How about that?
Monty suggests breaking up the garden into distinct sections to make it feel bigger. He feels the lawn should be reduced considerably. He suggests that they should increase the width of their border and have one on either side. The third section of garden should be mainly a flower border with a path running through. The bench should be moved to the left-hand side to catch the evening sun. The rose arch should act as a doorway, separating the border area from the lawn.
Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Can you do it for us?
No, I'm not going to do anything for you. This is going to be your gig.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, it's your money, your time, your effort. You're young, you're enthusiastic, you've got lots of ideas. If you want to be proud of yourselves, you've got to walk the walk.
Yeah,
you've got to do it.
definitely.
And you will.
Okay.
You will. And I'll help you. And I'll guide you. Do as much as you can yourself. What they described to me with such passion simply wasn't reflected by the plan on paper, which I thought was a bit boring and a bit safe.
He's given us an idea of how to get everything we want in there, but just go about it a different way.
So I think they've got to start again, get stuck in, do the work, and make sure that all that initial energy and enthusiasm ends up on the ground.
So I think I might do a bit more than project management now.
In Bath, the boys are looking forward to meeting Monty for the first time.
We've just been planning for so long for this garden. We just can't wait to get cracking.
I think it's going to be weird having Monty here because Monty's been here before, but only ever on the telly. So he's always been about this big. So to see him full size will be quite fun. Welcome. I'm Ant. Hello. This is Jake.
Jake. Pleasure to meet you, Monty.
Nice to meet you.
Come on in.
Thank you.
And this is it.
It's a good it. Oh, it goes around the corner.
Yes, it's got a
Oh,
little
that's and a lot
bit to the side.
Yeah. How long have you been here?
Since October?
Yeah.
Since November.
November time.
Effectively, in horticultural terms, this is the first season.
Yes.
So what type of garden are you thinking of?
We want a Japanese garden.
Right.
We really want a Japanese garden. Well, we're thinking of splitting into two bits because we've got the bit down the side.
Yeah.
So the main bit would be more like a tea garden, kind of a strolling garden. And then down the side where it's shady, we're thinking sort of woodland streams, dark areas, kind of green and lush and cool.
To what extent do you want to take the influence and make a garden of your own, or do you want to make a Japanese garden?
We want to make a Japanese influenced garden, I guess. One of my main concerns is that we don't want it to look like a halfway garden. We still want it to look authentic enough and it's still staying true to the ethos and everything else. And at the same time, because we have seen so many Japanese gardens, there's so much in our head and it's very dangerous to put all of them into our small garden.
I'm glad you're saying it, not me, because I would say it. The biggest mistake would be to try and cram every idea you've ever had, every garden you've ever seen into your back garden. But the good thing is there are a lot of temple gardens that are precisely this size. Have you any idea what it's going to cost?
At the moment, it stands at 5,000. Your original figure was 2,000.
Yeah, mine was very much a finger in the air, not knowing what I was talking about, £2,000, till we looked into it.
5,000 is a really healthy budget. 2,000 is possible, but you would be making compromises quite early on.
I don't think we want to make any compromises. I'm quite impatient, and I envisage this garden, when it's done, it's going to look mature and look like an authentic Japanese garden. But deep down, I know that Japanese gardens takes years, if not hundreds of years to mature.
Can I tell you something? Go on.
Please.
Forget the deep down. You've got to know right on the surface that this is going to take years, okay? What you do this year is the beginning.
Okay.
The psychology you need is that you're not looking at that end product. You're just looking at today.
Yeah.
That's the gardener's mentality.
And actually, there's something quite nice about growing with your garden
Absolutely.
together.
That's it.
Yeah.
You and the garden grow together. The garden grows you.
Yeah.
Think Zen.
Great. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Ant and Jake's ambitious plan is for a Japanese-inspired garden, divided into two sections. The woodland area at the side of the house will feature a miniature stream, surrounded by shade-loving plants such as ferns and hostas. A gate opens into a space as yet undefined. Beyond that, the formal tea garden, featuring a variety of Japanese-style planting and stepping stones, creating a path leading to the left-hand corner. In the centre of the garden, an acer will rest on a mound, half surrounded by an intricate concrete patio. Monty is concerned about certain aspects of their plans.
I am worried by how much of that area this hard landscaping is taking.
Right.
Okay.
It's a relatively small space. I would consider making it smaller and having a journey round rather than just to one place.
Monty zeroes in on a vague bit of the plan.
And then as we come round here into what is alarmingly called no man's land.
Yes, we were hoping you'd spot that.
We have no idea what to do about that.
You can tell where the ideas run out.
No man's land is always a disaster. You know, incoherent, unresolved areas remain incoherent and unresolved.
Right.
You have to resolve it.
Monty suggests they reduce the size of the patio to accommodate more planting on the right-hand side of the garden. He also thinks they should bring the different sections of the garden together by extending the path throughout. Rather than having no clear purpose, no man's land would become a third separate section of the garden. The path should then continue through the woodland and lead to a small tea house that would serve as a bike shed.
That probably would be the only bike shed that looks like a Japanese tea house in this country.
And I think it would both be funny, and practical.
Practical.
Yeah.
But Ange and Jake are worried that their soil is very waterlogged. So Monty suggests a way to find out how big a problem they're facing.
I would expect in a new build like this for there to be the thinnest layer of topsoil, right? Just enough to support grass and all kinds of rubbish underneath. Okay. So we'd take out a square of turf. However wide it is, it must be at least as deep.
Right.
So it's 2 foot wide, it should be 2 foot deep. Okay. Fill it full of water and leave it ideally overnight. Let it soak away at its own pace, whatever that takes. As much as drain away, it'll be absorbed by the soil. Then you fill it again, knowing that the soil is saturated. So what goes then is proper drainage as opposed to absorption. And depending on the rate of that fall, will give you a pretty good indication of the drainage of the soil.
Monty says that anything more than 10 hours is very slow drainage. Ideally, he'd want the water to drain within 4 to 5 hours.
What we hope is that tomorrow morning it's gone.
We do hope, yeah.
If in a week's time we get a phone call saying it's dropped half an inch,
Then we have a problem.
and I'm off. And I'll be saying here. For all the knowledge and enthusiasm for a Japanese garden, and I love that, it pales into insignificance until they tackle the problem of the soil.
We knew the drainage was an issue to tackle, but we just didn't realize the scale of it.
This is a classic new build problem. Horrible soil, which has been compacted and really is unsuitable for planting. So until they sort that out, they really can't progress at all.
What have we got ourselves into?
Our super competitive dreamer Tariq wants an award-winning garden, but Monty didn't award him any gold stars when it came to his original plan. So to help him and Syra get a clearer vision, Monty has invited them to the biggest gardening event of the year, the Chelsea Flower Show. After all, it's where the top names in the gardening world compete for the title Best in Show. And Tariq has already found something he has his eye on.
Definitely need one of these in our garden.
What, instead of the tofu chicken?
No, as well as. I think we should have a steel chicken, a topiary chicken, maybe a wood one, and have a flock of chickens in my garden.
I don't know, I'm not really sure if I like it.
Much to Syra's relief, Monty guides the pair away from poultry and to the LG Smart Garden, a contemporary take on the outdoor room. He really wants them to up their game to find their own style and colour scheme.
I brought you here because it's very high-tech, very modern, unashamedly so, but it does use the vernacular of conventional gardening. You know, the plants are plants that could be in any garden. The way you grow them is exactly the same way as you would grow them any garden. So have you any immediate feedback?
As soon as I walk into this garden, it feels really serene and calm, modern. What's really incredible about it is the planting scheme. I never really thought about the thickness, the depth of the borders, the height of the plants, how full it looks, the colour scheme. Everything is just looks really spectacular. So it's really blown me away.
And this is from someone who said that you weren't going to be involved in the garden itself.
No, I know.
What are you thinking?
I think it's fantastic. I love it. Bringing the inside out and also the outside coming into the house as well.
This is a space to live in as much as to garden. It is an outdoor room. And that is something that more and more people are using and doing. If you look at the planting, the colour scheme is actually very soft.
Yeah.
It's very pretty. The colour palette is actually quite modest and pared down. But that's always a good thing.
Originally I was thinking I just wanted lots of bright colour in one
Yeah, I
place.
know.
And which I'd said, and the one thing I've noticed at all the gardens that we've seen at Chelsea is the palette, like how amazing just a palette can look with a few colours rather than throw too much in there.
Some of the gardens are very, very subtle indeed.
Yeah.
How many plants do you have to get to make a garden?
It has often been said the fewer the better. But at the moment, just think of colours and shapes and how you want to use the space.
Monty also wants to show them another garden, designed by Charlie Albone. It's a relaxing space that provides a retreat from the speed of modern living.
What I thought might interest you is, one, it's very different to the other garden, and two, it's got much more structure.
Yeah.
You know, ranging from the fact that it's dug down to have a lawn down that you have steps down into, the stepped box hedging that makes it create a structure, and then, of course, the colour scheme, totally different, but just as controlled. If you look at it, it's within a very defined palette of rich plums and purples and these silvery colours with touches of white.
I love this garden. I absolutely love it. I like the small lawn area, which we could incorporate into our garden.
I think the height is really interesting.
Height's important.
Really interesting. They've got these amazing kind of hedges on stilts, and you've got the amazing colour palette, and it's very striking.
Both these gardens, in their very different ways, have taken a theme. They're both about people relaxing. They're both modern. They both have a limited colour palette. And they do it in a very different way. But they're coming at the same problem from different angles. To make a relaxing urban space, a key thing is to try and sort of find out what really you want and then make it happen, rather than what you ought to want or what other people want or what. It's got to come from inside you, or else it won't work.
Today's been fantastic. It's been really great to come to Chelsea.
I think one of the main things I've taken away is the interest and the depth you can create with height and having a colour palette and not confusing the colour palette, keeping it quite clean and thinking about the feel of the garden, like how we want the colours to make us feel.
I think they're beginning to see what they like without necessarily knowing why they like it or how to achieve it in their own garden. And that's a really important step. So hopefully they will leave here not trying to emulate the professionalism of Chelsea, but having found a place in their hearts that they can then follow where their will takes them.
In Bath, the plan for a Japanese garden has been stalled by the drainage issue.
Monty was here a week ago and he gave us some homework to do. We did some digging of holes.
Yeah, and he left us with a hole for the water, and by the looks of it, it's still there. Has it gone up?
No, but it doesn't look like it. That's 7 centimetres. It's gone down in a week.
So if that was in an hour, that would have been perfect.
Yeah,
but this is in a
this
week.
is a week.
The boys have dug several holes around the garden to see how widespread the problem is.
Gosh, this one is too fast. It's only been an hour, and all the water's gone. So we've got one hole on this side that's actually too fast. There's another hole on the other side that's just standing still. Right.
This is going to call for an extreme solution, especially if they are to keep up with the now not so identical garden fast taking shape next door. So they call on some heavy-duty machinery to remove most of the garden and start again from scratch.
The plan for this tomorrow is to put in the drain, take the water out of it so it doesn't become a big sump. And then gravel, about 8 tons of gravel and 18 tons of soil on top. And then we can do some landscaping and gardening. So, you know, it's a mammoth task.
It's June in Leyton, and hard-working Tariq has been busy clearing out the garden.
We've taken out 2 skips worth of rubble. We've dug out concrete blocks. So that is a huge amount of work that we did.
I haven't really done anything, in fairness. Tariq's been doing all of the hard graft.
This runs all the way to here.
Yeah, but you haven't measured
How are you
it.
gonna fill that out with
but
plants?
you haven't actually measured it, so I don't know how you know that.
The idea is that we get the path shape of our garden. So we're just trying to peg out and map the flow and how the path meanders along.
You need to measure these bits, don't you, so that it's brought in enough? Because we need to do this actually and get it right.
Seems like Tariq isn't the only perfectionist in this relationship.
And we need to measure those bits actually. Should we start measuring those as well? And then we can get this bit right.
Syra isn't the only one keeping Tariq in line. Their neighbour Leon is watching closely as well.
Can't wait to see the finish. You know, getting so excited. I just hope that Tariq does it good and proper, otherwise I'm going to tell him off.
I think before today, to me, it just looked like a big pile of muck. I could probably just see all the negatives rather than see it as a space where you can actually do something. And now we've started to map it out, I can kind of see Tariq's idea. I can kind of see it coming to life a bit more.
Yeah.
In Bath, with the drainage issue sorted, the boys are taking delivery of their brand new and fingers crossed problem-free soil.
It's like we're starting afresh.
We had a hole that you could have actually buried 2 elephants in there, no problem, for sure.
We've got a lot of soil in. I think we've got
29 tons.
29 tons, there we go.
But the hard work hasn't even started yet.
They're now running a month behind, so the boys have called on their friends and family to make a start, finally, on their garden. To add salt to the wound, their competitive neighbours, Jake's twin and his husband, have already completed the work on their garden.
Our garden's fabulous.
You couldn't be more different. We paid someone to just do it. It's, in comparison, a lot easier.
It's certainly not the relaxing experience our dreamers had in mind, but they're trying to stay positive.
Many hands make light work, and it's been so good to have so many friends frantically digging and helping our dreams become reality.
Overall, really good day, because at least you can actually see the shape of it now.
Yeah.
Which is really exciting.
After some extensive research, Tariq and Syra have come to Provender Nursery to pick out some plants.
That's pretty, I really like that one.
It's got some nice red foliage on it as well.
Pink
And some
as well.
red.
I've grabbed that other one at the back there as well, I think that's quite nice too.
What ones do you want?
I want the pink ones.
Syra is in charge of the list, but true to form, she's letting Tariq do all the heavy lifting.
Can I give us a little hand?
We were doing all right. I think you're doing all right.
All right.
At least marketing manager Liz offers to help with some horticultural advice.
Foxgloves,
Yeah.
otherwise known as digitalis. Well, the most common foxglove is digitalis purpurea alba, which gets white flowers with little sort of dots of pink and purple in it. Flower spikes will get to this high.
Yeah.
Great plant for structure, will self-seed.
How many is good to get then if you don't want them to overpower the whole garden?
With something like a digitalis, because it's a woodland plant, you never see just one in the wild. You always see sort of like a little grove.
Yeah.
It's best to try and emulate what you see in the wild, so at least 3.
Syra and Tariq are keen cooks, so next on the list, they're looking to fill up their herb bed.
Sage on your list, that's a good one.
Okay.
It's got a nice big leaf. It's a good earthy plant.
How big does it grow?
If you're picking it to continually cook from it, always take the sort of younger leaves rather than the older leaves. They can be a bit tough.
Okay.
So as you can see, if you nip out the top, it'll regrow from here. So but if you're continually picking it, it'll probably get to about this size all in all.
Yeah.
And a nice decent bush about that sort of
Yeah.
size across.
Sage crossed off, it's time to move on to the next item on the list.
There are lots of various different types of thymes, but one of the best ones for cooking is actually this one. That's got a really good, tough little smell to it. The thing to do with thyme is once it's flowered, treat it a bit like a lavender and just cut it back to pass the flowering.
Okay.
And again, you'll get all this lovely fresh new foliage, perfect for...
So nice.
for
Yeah,
cooking
that's
with.
lovely.
Well, I'll tell you what I've got at home, which is a great plant, is parsley. And the only thing with parsley is not to let it flower. It does go a little bit bitter if it flowers, but that overwinters really nicely.
Oh, right.
So everything we've looked at is perennial, so it'll die down each year and come back. Things like the rosemaries and the lavenders obviously are evergreen. But there are a few things to consider, like basil.
Yeah.
Great in a salad, but that is an annual, so it won't overwinter.
Having selected their plants, Liz helps the novices work out whether they have bought the right ones to create their dream garden.
You've got a lot of lovely strappy foliage, so you've got some good structure. You've got the flowering height with the verbenas, and also you'll have the digitalis. You've got the erysimums, the evergreen wallflower. You have everything here, really, herbaceous-wise, that you could possibly need, so it's a really, really good selection.
In Bath, the Japanese garden lovers had a complex plan for a tea garden and a woodland glade. And to add to the challenge, they now want to build a Zen garden on their no man's land. Monty has sent them to the Japanese garden in Cornwall to meet owner Robert Hoare, who began developing his meditative garden in 1991. Robert shares his experience of how to achieve the elegance and deceptive simplicity of a Zen garden.
They were first built by Zen Buddhists, and it was part of their sort of meditation process. The raking, the cleaning. It is a spiritual experience, if you like. There is an energy that people pick up on.
This is very calming.
We've had virtually every reaction you can imagine from this.
Yeah.
Some people have cried.
What was the theory behind the rocks in terms of the position of them, and do they symbolize anything for you?
If you saw it, sort of man is the smallest part to the earth, to the universe. It does put it all in perspective.
Robert explains that stones have played an important role in Japanese culture since ancient times. In Zen gardens, larger stones can symbolize mountains, islands, or waterfalls, while gravel and sand replace water.
It took ages to get the rocks here, but it took a lot longer to actually get them to sit together.
Right.
And there's nothing really tangible you can say until it's right.
Yeah. That's interesting because it looks right. I can't describe why it looks right. It just looks right.
But I would love to know how you create the lines in the gravel.
Well, would you like me to show you how to rake it? Fine. So it's a relatively simple dowelled wooden rake, and I use a wavy line around the stones to almost symbolise waves around islands.
Yeah. This gravel does show the lines really well.
Yeah. Are you putting much weight on it, or are you just dragging it?
Literally, you're just dragging it through.
When you first started, how did you know where to rake and what lines you were going to make? Was it a feeling?
I played with lots of different designs, but this is the one I've actually used now for about the last 20 years-ish.
Wow.
And it's a new day again. The only thing I would say, you see here where you've come to meet the other one.
Yeah.
If you just blend it in, it becomes complete, and you can't see where you've stopped and started.
Today was brilliant. I loved it. I learned quite a lot.
Yeah. It's really impressive. Yeah. We're actually blown away just how authentic it looked and how much attention he paid to every little detail in this garden. And how much work did he actually put into this place? It's so much commitment.
Years and years of work.
In Leyton, the hard landscaping for their dream award-winning cottage-style garden has been completed. And while Syra has been busy ordering even more plants, Tariq has a characteristically organised plan for looking after them.
I think we've bought so many plants that it's going to be difficult to keep track of it all. So we're going to have to create some sort of spreadsheet or like a booklet of plants and how to look after them.
The plants haven't arrived yet, but what has arrived is a whole lot of manure. 2 tons of it. Monty had told Tariq he needed to do something about the bad soil.
I'm shoveling composted horse manure in preparation for hundreds of plants that are going to arrive next week. Smells pretty bad. It's got to be done because our soil's not very good. I need to enrich it.
And as ever, neighbour Leon is keeping an eye on his handiwork.
I know, it smells. Sorry, Leon.
Is that what you're doing, man?
Yeah.
Very much, isn't it?
Well, nearly 2 tons.
Oh, over there, yeah.
Yeah.
Following their inspirational trip, Jake and Ant have been working hard to get things to the next stage before their mentor's visit. Monty's curious to see how the boys have been getting on.
I've been thinking about this garden quite a lot. Japanese gardens are not easy, and especially ones as complex and as ambitious as they've done. So I do hope that they've got the soil sorted and they've made a bit of a start, because otherwise they're going to be cutting it fine. Hello.
Hello. Hi, Monty.
And I thought perhaps you wouldn't have done much.
Good to see you again.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Welcome.
I'm really, really impressed.
Welcome back.
Okay, I left you walking away thinking, ooh, they've got a problem.
Yeah.
How big a problem was it?
In the end, we had to get the whole garden dug out and then put in 2 gigantic soakaway boxes and then 21 more tons of soil on top of that. Yeah.
Whole new garden.
Yep.
But when I said you need to get the soil sorted out, I certainly didn't think that would mean essentially carving out the hillside and replacing it. It's quite rare for people to go to such lengths to make a garden. And you have got going in a way that I hadn't begun to anticipate.
We took on your suggestions and we changed a bit of it. Most notably, I think, the paving. We
Right.
called it crazed paving. It was slightly crazed, and we reduced it down to the minimum size we could and
Right.
put table and chairs.
And you've been aggressively planting.
Well, what you're looking at is the 1,560 chamomile individually planted.
we've done the chamomile.
Yeah.
You have done the chamomile. You've really done the chamomile.
Time for Monty to get to work.
Then tell me what your volcano is doing.
That is where the Acer is going to live.
And that's something we need help with.
Normally, with an Acer, you'd say plant ideally between October and March.
Yeah.
The reason for that, even if it's in a pot, is that the roots will grow to a certain extent, but the leaves won't. So therefore not making demands upon the roots. Planting now, especially if it's hot and dry, quite a lot of demands on the roots.
Yeah.
So you may well have to water much more than you otherwise would.
Okay, right.
Yeah, but let's get it in the ground. Yeah, that's good. You're good. That's too low in the hole. Okay, so the top, that point, I want to be about an inch above soil level. So about like that. Okay, so if I lift this out, can one of you two get enough soil to put underneath it, okay?
Because they are moving the Acer outside of the normal planting season, Monty advises using mycorrhizal fungus, which he says should help to extend the root system and increase absorption.
Now, what you have to do with this is put it onto the roots and also put it on the soil. So, now turn it a bit again. One more.
That is pretty much it.
Good.
Mycorrhizal would be-
Right, next step is for you to stand back and tell me where to position it so you're happy.
Okay.
Okay.
What I'd like is the longest arch to come over here.
Yeah.
Come about 90 degrees around.
Like that?
A little bit more. Perfect.
So we'll water that thoroughly. You want to get right down the roots to the bottom. That should do it. That should do it. Finish all watering before you mulch, because otherwise the mulch acts as a blotting paper and soaks up moisture, and you want the water to go down to the roots, and then the mulch keeps it in. Let's stand back and look at that. I think that's pretty good, don't you?
It's perfect.
It transforms the garden.
Although the tea garden is nearly complete, the pair still have 2 more sections to tackle.
When I said that it's all about the soil, it's going to be a big job, I didn't realise it was going to be as big as it turned out. And they've created a completely new garden. It's a masses, and it looks good. They've got to do this side section, and there's a lot to do, but all the evidence is that they'll do it, and they'll do it well.
We've planted a load of stuff together. You quite like doing a bit of gardening now?
I like parts of it.
Parts of it.
Yeah.
But that's better than none.
I wouldn't do this hard work for other people, but for your own garden, it's worth the hard work. Definitely. Yeah, for sure.
In Leyton, Tariq and Syra are looking forward to moving on to the next stage of the garden.
I feel like all the hard work has been done, all the digging, the patio laying, putting up the fence and the shed.
Because it's been really hard work, like for Tariq.
Yeah.
But Syra has been thinking hard about their colour scheme, taking inspiration from the gardens Monty showed them at Chelsea.
We tried to have some more confidence in putting the garden together and choosing the plants, and I hope that he can see that we've tried to do that.
Topiary chicken, we haven't got that yet. Any sort of chickens or goats we don't have in our garden yet. We wanted them, but...
This is a garden where I really don't have to worry how much work they've done since my last visit. I know they will have been at it like a bull at the gate. Tariq and Sarah are desperate to show how well they're doing and get approval. And whilst that's completely admirable, I do hope that they're learning to enjoy the process and both figuratively and literally learning how important it is to stop and smell the roses. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. You can do that. So you have done a huge amount. Have you done it all, or have you got people in to help?
Probably about 90% of it I've done.
You have come on leaps and bounds. I mean, this is really a lot.
We're pleased with it, yeah.
There's one big question that I'm burning to know is, have you enjoyed it?
It's been a really good experience and process, and I've enjoyed it so much, going to the garden centre.
Because both of you are very outcome orientated, aren't you? It's all about achieving goals, hitting marks,
Yeah, exactly.
winning, being bears, coming top, all that sort of stuff.
Seeing the progress, from seeing it look like an absolute derelict, horrible garden to seeing it start to take some shape and start to look pleasant, I think has been an achievement. So we've kind of got the satisfaction from that, and then now the rest of it is learning.
I see you've been buying plants in a biggish way.
Oh,
Buying plants.
yeah, I enjoyed doing the plant shopping. So we took lots of inspiration from what we saw at Chelsea.
We went for a purple and white
and pink.
kind of hue.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there is a distinct colour theme emerging in that. What would you like me to help you with?
We've got lots of jobs, but I think one of the biggest one is getting those plants in our big border. So you want to be able to dot them around.
So Monty and Tariq's mum Shida get straight to work.
You can control him because you're probably the only person who can. So if we start, say, with the box, how do you see that shaping up? Where had you thought of these?
We were thinking along here, three boxes along here.
1,
to try and draw your eye into.
2, and what about the cones?
The cones we were thinking to have one here.
Yeah.
One here and one here.
Okay,
yeah, to create a kind of gateway as you're going through here.
So let's start over this side. So you think one there?
Yep.
So we have structure either side of the path there.
Yes.
Structure either side of the path there.
Yes.
And a line cut. Fine. Good. That makes sense. So now we're thinking of more structure, the biggest plants. Let's get these agapanthus out.
Yeah.
How had you thought of them working?
We wanted to have the height kind of maybe in the centre, and then we were kind of thinking of having grasses around so you could look through.
Seems to be going well, but perhaps Syra hasn't done quite as much research as she thought.
See here. Agapanthus flowers best when it's crammed into a container.
Right.
Put this into this nice rich soil, you'll have lots of leaves and no flowers.
Oh, right, okay. We don't want that.
So either they've got to go somewhere with poor soil and preferably a bit stony, or in a pot.
Right.
Having worked so hard up to this point, Tariq is not going to be deterred.
Can we plant them in a pot in the ground?
You could do that.
And we've got 6 of them, so do we all stick them all together in one big pot?
Yeah, because these are quite small. I mean, you could, because they like to be crowded, you can cram them into a pot. Probably what you'd do is have 2 pots and have 3 in each pot.
Yeah, that's what we'd want to do.
And you would pack them tight. Don't give them too much room. They need only about an inch around the outside of soil, and that would work.
Alongside the agapanthus, Syra has chosen verbena and echinacea to add height. While fountain grass and Mexican feathergrass soften the overall look.
This is a plant which you grow as much as anything else for its texture.
Yeah.
You know, and the one thing they need and they like is good drainage.
Right. So this is, you know, when we saw the garden in
Yeah.
Chelsea,
Yeah.
and they had the silver bits that were in with the
Yeah.
purple. That's where I got the inspiration for these.
So many
ones from.
plants.
Here's a thought. You could do that.
That's nice, actually.
What we're trying to do is build up a rhythm of colour and texture and shape that feels natural, but has actually got a very distinct colour palette and texture. This is all quite light and soft, both in colour and shape. There are no spiky plants.
No.
There's nothing too rigid or hard, and the grasses make it softer like that. I think this is progress. The progress to me is that you're thinking about how plants work. There's no right and wrong way about this. It's what you want and what works well.
Well, initially Monty's approval was the only thing we ever wanted. And his blessing and him saying how great we were doing.
What I think is beginning to happen is they are learning to exercise their own judgment and not see the garden through the eyes of other people and looking for their approval. And that is a huge step.
I think we've got the confidence now to just get on with it and do it ourselves.
In Bath, Jake is relishing his newfound love of gardening.
Before this garden, cactus died in my office. I was that bad with plants.
You could kill a plastic plant, I think I used to say.
Yeah, I probably would, actually. But it gives me confidence to think, actually, the chamomile that I planted, they're thriving and they're growing to a lawn. So that's quite nice. That's a nice feeling. That's something I didn't anticipate.
Today they're starting on the shaded woodland area of the garden. They're making interconnected ponds, which will be surrounded by a variety of ferns and hostas.
Things that I dreaded actually now doesn't seem that big of a deal anymore. When we talked about moving tons of soil or rocks or aggregate from the front of the house to the back of the garden, I was like, oh my God, how are you ever supposed to do that? I mean, that's not something for human, it's for machinery. But now, like the other day, we're like, okay, well, let's get 2 tons of rocks. We're just gonna place them around the pond. I was like, okay, well, we'll just do it one at a time. And things don't seem that big of a deal for me anymore.
We've still got quite a lot of work to do behind us.
I'm confident that it's going to be done. I'm quite excited about seeing the whole tree garden together, really, when everything's done.
It's September in Leyton, and the big day has arrived. Monty is on his way to see if all of Tariq and Syra's hard work and ambition has paid off.
We're not looking for a grade. We're not people who look for grades anymore. We used to want a grade. We wanted to be A-star students.
Despite their energy, enthusiasm and willingness to work really hard, all the way along, they wanted my approval. So above all, I hope that they like it, they approve of what they've done. They don't really care what I think.
It would be great if he, as like the top gardener in the country, thought that it was a nice garden. I'm extremely proud of what we've done, but mainly extremely proud of what Tariq's done. He's just been relentless with his kind of being motivated to do the project.
Hi, Tariq.
Just 4 months ago, this shabby backyard was nothing but a dumping ground. But now it is a charming and welcoming space in which to entertain guests. A well-stocked herb garden will keep the cooks busy. And a pastel colour palette and soft grasses provide a warm and relaxing atmosphere. While striking topiary and bold paving add structure. And Tariq has even managed to include an iron chicken.
Grasses are looking great, aren't they?
Yeah,
they're coming into there, and they'll look better and better over the next few weeks.
Yeah.
The topiary looks nice and crisp, and the verbena is still holding upright and good. That's fantastic. And your herb garden, which is bathed in sunshine.
It's baking hot. It's the
Yeah.
Mediterranean section of...
Well, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
No problems there at all. Let's talk about money. What was the notional budget?
I think we said 7.
I think we said 7.
Yeah.
Right. We just said 7,000 was a reasonable amount to spend.
And what did you base that on?
Percentage of what we spent on the house.
Okay, well, that's not a stupid idea.
Yeah.
actually. So what did you spend?
About 10, I think.
Right.
I'd say probably just like maybe close to 9 actually, but something
Okay,
like
so it was a bit over the notional
that. Yeah,
budget,
but not.
but not massively.
no.
And what ate up most of the money?
The fence cost a lot of money. The patio paving cost a lot, and the plants cost a lot.
Yeah.
Could have cost twice, 3 times much
Yeah.
if we didn't do it ourselves.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I was very impressed by the way you did get stuck in.
Yeah.
And you did. Do you enjoy that?
I thought it was great. Yeah, it's
Good.
brilliant. It's our garden, and
Yeah.
it's a place for us to enjoy.
Yeah.
We've got everything that we want in it, and we can enjoy every single aspect of it. So it doesn't really matter if you don't like it or others don't.
Music
Because
to my ears.
we're enjoying it. It's
Well,
fantastic for us.
That's what I want to hear.
This garden was built for entertaining, so it's time to get the tea party started.
Tarek and Sarah, you achieved a huge amount, and the real success, the biggest reward, the biggest thing you can ever win is a little bit of quiet pleasure. So to a garden with a long life of quiet pleasure, I wish you every success.
Oh, I think the garden was in a terrible state. Considering they was growing brickwork before, now they're growing flowers.
Everything's come together really well. And you've got a lovely variety of plants here and colours, and you know, it's looking a very lovely place to just sit out and relax.
After all the hard work, it looks stunning. It's perfect really for them, I think. You know, I think all the hard work's paid off.
I love the garden. I think it's just, I can't stop looking at it. I'm like, wow, we did this.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's lovely. It's lovely. I love my garden.
The garden is a success on many, many levels. It looks great. It completes the house. Tarek and Sarah are winners, but they haven't defeated anybody. They're winning because they've made something lovely, and that's real success.
In Bath, the boys are nervously awaiting Monty's final visit.
It feels like exam day, so I'm a little anxious. I think the biggest transformation is standing next to me in terms of gardening.
I don't know what I'm going to do with myself on a Saturday not going to the garden centre anymore.
I think he will like it. I hope.
I'm really looking forward to seeing how this garden has ended up. And I know that these guys will have researched it very thoroughly and put a huge amount of work in. To take this brilliantly executed concept and then make it alive and live for the future is the real challenge.
4 months ago, this dull and uninspiring back garden was riddled with problems. But now it has a brand new lease of life. The iconic Zen garden provides a serene area for contemplation. In time, the woodland pond will be covered in a canopy of lush green foliage. The Japanese tea garden, swathed in a chamomile carpet, with a glorious Acer centerpiece. The perfect place to reflect on many fond memories of faraway travels.
That has really grown. It's matured surprisingly. The Acer that we moved,
Yes,
I like the way that it's looking. It's looking very healthy.
I'm really happy. It
Yeah.
seems to have settled down.
And I like the screen that the bamboo is forming,
Yeah.
and that will grow and spread.
Yeah.
And your cherry is flowering. Hey, you've got your
Yes.
Japanese cherry flowering in
It came
September.
out for you.
Let's go through the trials and tribulations. Was that catastrophically expensive?
It was very expensive, even though the developer very kindly picked up the bill for a large part of the work.
Yeah.
We had to bring a lot of soil.
Yeah.
So it was very
So it
expensive.
did blow the budget.
Yeah.
I mean, that alone is beyond most people's lifetime experience of dealing with problems again.
Probably.
You know, to dig out to a 7-foot depth across the whole garden and replace it, I've never come across that before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I mean, that is really extreme. So you began in the most dramatic way possible.
Actually, it was stressful at the time, for sure. But now, it actually gives us comfort and confidence knowing exactly what's underneath there. We know the soak is working. We know the topsoil is good quality. That actually is quite nice to know.
How much over budget are you now that you've finished?
The original was 5,000.
Yeah.
But altogether it was 14.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yes.
Gosh, I wasn't expecting that. It's a lot of money, isn't it?
We looked at how much we spent on holidays to Japan,
Yeah.
for one thing. How much time we'd spend in the garden, how much time we'd spend enjoying it with friends. What you get back is bigger than the cost of it.
I think you can't possibly spend money in a better way. So, you know, I'm with you. Now, I want to go and have a good look at the gravel garden.
Yes.
I want to see around the side, which I haven't seen at all yet. So the path comes up here and leads us through.
Yeah.
It's very pure, and I like the gravel very much.
Thank you.
And into the shade garden. And it's cool, really cool. I think the sort of monochromatic effect works. It could be lusher,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but that'll come.
Yep.
Well, I think you should feel very, very pleased with yourselves, because you've made a great garden, you've made a lovely garden.
Thank you.
So much.
Hi, guys.
And with Monty's seal of approval, it's time to welcome friends and family into their dream garden.
I've seen lots of gardens in my life, all over the world, but I've never seen a garden rebuilt from 7 feet down. I completely admire the combination of hard work, but also artistry. So raise your glass and let's celebrate it, and well done to both of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Cheers.
Very proud, yes. Yeah, when you see it all together, yeah, extremely proud. And you see their faces as well. They're so
I'm very
happy
proud
with
of Ant for having that vision and actually realising it.
I came here and was absolutely gobsmacked. I think the work they've done here is turned a house into a home.
Bye-bye.
I'm really pleased how it turned out. It's amazing. And I can't believe it at times when I look at it.
I think I'm beyond pleased, actually. I'm kind of amazed that we did actually manage to do it. To me, that is a dream garden. To me, that is...
It's our dream garden.
Yeah, it's our dream garden.
This is a garden that will go on to give them pleasure and will get better and better. It's a garden that, like a fine wine, is going to age well. Do you dream of having your own special outdoor space? A small garden that you can admire, enjoy, and call your own. And then you stop and think, I have no idea how to make it. Well, you're not alone.
Monty Don has travelled up and down the country visiting amateur gardeners with bold ambitions. He's scrutinised their plans and pushed them out of their comfort zones.
Going out into deeper, darkest, unknown territory, isn't it?
It's not been easy.
I hate it.
But everyone's worked incredibly hard.
Both of us want to sleep for a week, pretty much.
You've had your tea break, come on.
And the transformations have been extraordinary.
It's just incredible. It really is.
I declare this garden open! I do believe that everybody, however small their garden, can cultivate a big dream.
This time, Monty meets two sets of new homeowners with different approaches to their garden dreams. From can't garden...
You could kill a plastic plant, I think I used to say.
Yeah, I probably would, actually.
...to won't garden.
Do you want to give us a little hand?
We were doing all right. I think we're doing all right.
They're going to need some expert guidance.
If in a week's time we get a phone call saying it's dropped half an inch,
then we have a problem.
To have Monty Don help us with a garden is a real privilege. I'm shoveling composted horse manure. Smells pretty bad.
What have we got ourselves into?
Our first garden is in Leyton, East London. Bankers Tariq and Syra would like a cottage-style garden in which they can entertain guests. They're also taking on the challenging task of remodelling their Victorian terrace at the same time.
This is our first house that we've actually bought together, and we wanted to buy a property we could put our own stamp on. We've been project managing it ourselves, which has been difficult.
Been stressful.
Yeah.
Fortunately for Syra, the couple have clearly defined roles when it comes to their 50-metre square backyard.
95% of the graft will come from me and 1% from Syra and probably another 4% from tradesmen.
I want to sit back, relax and enjoy the fruits of his labour.
But he's not just the workhorse. Tariq has a perfectionist streak too.
I do a lot of research, a lot of
research.
I'm an analyst by trade, so I put together like a list and tick it all off, a spreadsheet, make sure that everything's done to...
Meticulous.
Yeah.
And he's also hoping to impress his horticultural hero.
To have Monty Don help us with a garden is a real privilege. I mean, he is Britain's favourite gardener, and have him come to our house and help us, we're so, so lucky to have him. And we're going to take absolutely everything that he says on board and try our absolute best for him, but also for us as well.
Our next set of first-time gardeners live in Bath.
Yeah.
Ant is a creative professional, and Jake is the owner of a marketing business. With demanding jobs, the pair are looking for a little bit of tranquility in their lives.
We both have a really busy lifestyle, so coming home to a really nice, calm, peaceful garden is very important to us.
They have a very specific style in mind for their 100-square-metre plot.
We have been to the Japanese gardens in Monte Carlo, in San Francisco, where else?
Brooklyn, that was the last one.
In Brooklyn, yeah, the last one was the Brooklyn Botanical Garden. So we always visit different type of Japanese gardens just to get inspiration. We just thought, that's it, we're going to do a Japanese garden and bring a bit of a memory of our travel to our backyard.
The couple live next door to Jake's identical twin brother Shane and his husband Peter. And what's more, they also have an identical garden that they too are renovating.
There's a lot of sibling rivalry. No doubt there'll be lots of looking over the fence to see what our house is like and what their garden's going to be like.
Yeah, that's definitely unavoidable.
The difference is that Ant and Jake have decided to do the work themselves, with some special help.
Personally, I'm not a huge gardener myself.
So we have ideas of what we want to do, but actually implementing it?
But we desperately need the help from Monty.
Desperate is a strong word.
Desperate.
Actually, we are desperate, yes.
It's May in Leyton, and Tariq is unashamedly ambitious about his dream project.
I want a garden that could be award-winning. A beautiful garden, I really want. That's what I really want. And I'm willing to put in all the graft and hard work in order to get to that stage.
But the novices don't know where to start, and are eager to get some advice.
It can be overwhelming, so I think that having somebody kind of guide you through the process and maybe support you through the process would be great, I think.
I'm Monty, nice to meet you. Come in.
So, here we are. This is the garden.
Yep, this is the garden.
All right, tell me what your plans are for this garden.
We quite like entertaining, having friends around, so it'd be great to have a space to allow us to do that.
I wanted a